Luffy and Zoro took on two of the strongest people in One Piece, and we got to witness them in full action, which gave us a glimpse into the power and loyalty of Zoro and the absolutely mind-boggling ability of Luffy. So we have to ask the question,
who had the better fight? Luffy versus Kaido or Zoro versus King?
As much as this pains me to say, because I am a staunch Zoro supporter, Luffy had the better fight. Obviously, one, because it was in multiple parts. It was just longer, just in general.
Okay.
Secondly, he had a whole transformation. You know what I'm saying? Like, the animation was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Iconic lines. You know what I'm saying? Beat. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's saying as hard as a drum.
Yeah.
It just, you know, his fight was, it was just better. It was, you know what I'm saying? There's not really much you can, as much as I love the Zoro fight with King, and the animation was amazing, and, you know, obviously, when Zoro became the King of Hell was dope, but there's no question the Luffy fight was better.
I feel as if you could make an argument that the Zoro fight was better. What you said about being longer, I'm not talking about longer. Everybody knows, just because something's longer doesn't make it better, all right?
Agree.
Now, I felt like because the Zoro fight was more condensed, it moved me through all the emotions that I felt during the Luffy fight. When you're talking about the heart pumping, that heart pumping thing actually happened with Zoro first, then Luffy. Remember? Because he pumped Haki into his heart, and he was like, hey, like, you're gonna die if you do that. Yes. And he was like, I don't care. But what I really love about it is just the staging. Since it was a shorter fight compared to multiple fights, you had Zoro was trying to master his sword. The flashback of the dude who made the sword telling him whoever masters the sword essentially is the King of Hell, because that's the sword that he made, and that's why he was deemed the King of Hell. You had him fighting a villain who essentially couldn't be hurt, so he's trying to figure out the sword, he's trying to figure out your ability, and he's going through all this, and we're getting some of the most beautifully drawn flashbacks. You know, the reanimation of him joining Luffy's crew, right? Remember that? The reanimation of when the girl that he used to challenge when he was a kid, her passing away, they reanimated that. So I'm sitting back watching this whole... Koina, correct. So I'm sitting back watching this, and I'm like, wow, the reanimation is phenomenal. The struggle that he's going through is an actual real struggle, unlike when he fought Pika, which Pika just ran the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is actually a fight that's challenging him. And I started to really love that. And then the icing on the cake is showing that King is kind of him. King said, I told Kaido I'd never be defeated. The same way he said I'd never be defeated. Then you get to watch King's background story of him locked up, him getting freed by Kaido, showing that that matching storyline that he has kind of with Luffy. So I completely think that was a phenomenal fight. And when you talk about animation, come on. The sword fighting was top tier. I've seen a lot of the sword fights in One Piece, and this was on a whole nother level. He came up with move after move after move and was just relentless, especially the way he ended it.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Zoro's my favorite character, so I don't have a problem with either fight. But just be honest, the Luffy fight's better. First of all, the situation where he was like, Momo, move the island.
Yeah.
That in itself, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, I believe in you. The statements he said, obviously, I already brought up the drum beat of the heart. Mm-hmm. And not only that, the animation, when he came up behind Kaido, it looked like, you know what I'm saying, he was some kind of demon.
Oh, yeah, the red eyes?
Yeah, the Thunder Bagawa, you know what I'm saying? It was a destroyer of words, Thunder Bagawa. Like, come on, man. When Luffy, like,
I'm not gonna lie.
He threw lightning bolts down on the ground and went to bounce around. Like, it's, the animation in general was...
All of Kaido's attacks sounded like...
Yeah, like...
Whoever he invented those attacks for and got hit with those were done, like, destroyer of worlds.
It was the crazy... That man, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying?
But don't get me wrong, I love the quotes, but there's a few things that were answered during that fight with King. Like, people debated, who's stronger, Zoro or Sanji? We know for a fact now, Zoro. We wonder
whoever debated that is a fool, okay?
The Sanji fans were...
Sanji fans, you're delusional. You're delusional, I'm on record. There was never a conversation, okay? And I've had a video discussing why he would wipe the floor with Sanji. But continue.
The other thing that they confirmed was that he is truly the right-hand man. Not only that, they pushed it a step further. He said, my best friend. So now you're like, he is Luffy's best friend. He is the right-hand man. He is stronger than Sanji. Those are so many things that were answered during that one battle. So you get just phenomenal storytelling on Zoro in that fight.
I mean, first of all, I already knew that, he was Luffy's best friend and his right-hand man because he was the only person who could check Luffy. Do not forget, when Usopp had the audacity to leave the crew, the only person who said he will not be on this ship or I am leaving is Zoro. And Luffy said, do I want Zoro or Usopp? He was ready to leave Usopp on that island and take off.
He just realized that he was right. It wasn't I'd rather...
I would leave this man because Zoro said, listen, we're real pirates here. We're not playing around. Now back to the topic again.
Yes.
Again, the way the fight started with the red rock, where he was like, I will be king of pirates. Like, there's so many iconic moments just from that battle that...
But you're saying that because it's longer.
It's not necessarily because it's longer. It's because, you know what I'm saying, for me, like, they showed the past to Kaido. They showed how
the king.
They showed how. So everything that you said with as far as the Zoro and King fight, they did with the Kaido fight.
Yes,
but here's the thing,
it was condensed.
But here's what y'all gotta understand. Even him saying there is no Joy Boy because no one defeats you. When King told that to Kaido, he was like, whoever defeats Kaido is Joy Boy, but he'll never be there. That's how it basically crowned Luffy as Joy Boy. Even like you said, the King of the Hell situation, this is the Joy Boy situation. So again,
yes, but he was always Joy Boy.
Listen,
we didn't know that conquering this sword, learning how to use this sword makes you. You didn't know that it was the King of Hell sword. It made him the King of Hell.
Listen, as much as I
and the way the narrator said it too, when he pushed and sent himself back up and landed and just created the crater, and they say the winner, Zoro.
I mean, again,
I was like, oh Lord.
You know what I'm saying? I'm all for, all of that. But even when he won, and you see the lanterns going up in the sky, and Luffy's in this, it was so cinematic, it was so iconic. It is what it is. And as much as I love the King fight. I love, the Zoro fight. I love the animation where they started showing King as a child while they was fighting, all that stuff. But they did the same thing for the Luffy fight. So everything that they did in the Zoro fight, they obviously did in the Luffy fight, but it was extended.
I'll give you that. It was extended. It was longer, as I said.
And to me, like, the statements were more enjoyable. I can't think of any iconic statement that Zoro said in that fight. I mean, the most iconic statement I feel like he said was when he first used his conqueror Haki when he was before he started fighting King, where it was like, I'm not playing around. He slashed that Queen. That was like an iconic Zoro statement, but for the most part, there wasn't no iconic words or something that made you feel
my best friend. That's the way the episode ended. Y'all forget that. That's the way the episode ended. They did a close up to the face, and he said his friend was my best friend is going to be king of the goddamn pirates.
My dog Luffy said,
that thing hit you with a to be continued.
My dog Luffy
I was like,
said,
oh,
you think I'm afraid of dying? I've never been afraid. I ain't worried about death. I'm not worried about that.
But Zoro did it first. You see the part with the Haki? He goes, I'll die if I pump this much Haki. And he's, I don't care.
Listen, man.
That's what I knew. I'm like, oh, you built different.
Again.
You're built different.
Like I said.
You could have been a captain on your own.
Of course.
You probably could have been king of the pirates.
I don't see that.
He could have been king of the pirates.
He had to run into Luffy, and I think Luffy would have got that done.
Oh, man.
But
that's another conversation we could have another day.
Definitely. But, you know what I'm saying? For me, like I said, I love both fights. I think both fights are iconic. I think, you know what I'm saying, obviously giving love to Sanji. The Queen and Sanji fight was dope as well. But it's not, to me, it's not even a conversation, like I said.
What I felt like, this is Zoro and Luffy. In the beginning of the fight, when Luffy got to the rooftop, and, he sent he told Law, he goes, send them downstairs. And that was some epic stuff. I'm gonna give Luffy that at the beginning of that fight. Like, just him showing up and him walking, Big Mom standing there, Kaido standing, like, Big Mom talking, oh, what was that you were saying? Like, when you was on that phone telling her you gonna come out there and whoop her. She's like, what was that, all that stuff you were talking? Kaido, that's him, right? That's that Luffy guy, ain't it?
She said, Kaido, what are you doing? How you gonna let him knock you down like that? Boy, red rock, right?
That was great. But to me, the highlight of the Kaido Luffy fight is really not the episode where he transforms into Gear 5, because that's kind of more or less showing you the past, so on and so forth. It's like the very next episode, I believe, when they had to fight, or the episode after, where the scene where he does have the red eyes, he's grabbing the lightning bolts out of the sky, he's tossing them down, he's making the ground like freaking rubber.
Yeah.
And I love that Kaido actually was using the rubber, bouncing himself off the rubber thing to give himself leverage on some of the attacks too. I thought that was dope for the animators to put together.
Yeah. So
but that Looney Tune style fighting was just it was gorgeous. It was beautiful.
And that's that's another thing that that does have over the Zoro fight. As great as the Zoro fight was, the Luffy fight had multiple different animations. They had the Looney Tune animation. They also had the they did the Zoro animation as well. And it's just overall like
I'll say that it had more
diversity.
More diversity. It was the style of the art was just everywhere, and it worked very well. The animators did their thing, man.
And I think it's more to come. So obviously, when the season continues, we're gonna see a lot more amazing fights.
A lot more fights, and tell us if you want us to talk about another fight. Now, family, you have to choose one of these two options. First, to your left, you have an anime video essay. And on your right, you have another anime podcast episode. So choose your next piece of entertainment wisely, and I will see you when you get to the next video.